Hello and welcome to Commodity Champions. I'm Manisha Gupta, and the delay in monsoon has poured water on the progress of Kharif sowing. As of today, the country has received 56% lower rainfall than the long period average, increasing fears of El Nino. Central India is the worst affected, followed by the east and northeast. Due to the erratic rainfall, the sowing of Kharif has been slowed by 10 days, and experts say that this is likely to impact the yield and quality. As on the 9th of June, more than 78 lakh hectares of land has been sown. This is marginally higher than the area covered during the same period last year. Joining me now to take the discussion forward is Atul Ganatra. He is President of the Cotton Association of India. Ajay Goyal is Director at Shivaji Flour Mills. Also joining us is Bimal Kothari. He is Vice Chairman of the India Pulses and Grains Association. Gentlemen, hi, thank you so much for joining us on CNBC-TV18. And first of all, on the monsoon itself, and we have seen a delayed monsoon, a weak onset. And while IMD does say that it is going to be the second half of June that could probably see better rainfall, but then they would be staring at the El Nino concerns as well. So this at best is the most uncertain of times that we have started a monsoon season with. Mr. Kothari, first question to you. How have you seen the pulses sowing area, which is down by 30% by the way as compared to previous year? I mean, I do understand that these are still very early days to start making any kind of claims at all. But the onset of monsoon and the scenario that we are in right now, what are your concerns on sowing?
Thank you, Manisha ji. As you rightly said, this is it's a very early stage to make any prediction about the crops, what is going to happen. But definitely the El Nino effect, which we have been knowing we have been talking about this for last 2 months. And now we are seeing the impact of El Nino that we have not seen any rainfall in almost today we are on the 12th of June and hardly, as you said, that 56% is the deficient. So definitely it's a huge concern for the Kharif crops, but because as you know that we have couple of very important crops like tuber and urad, of which the prices are already rising. Last year already we had a concern. Today the price of tuber and urad is looking very high. So I think looking at this situation, looking at the monsoon situation, erratic monsoon situation, I think the government needs to take some step, like we need to, as you know, that the other pulses availability from the Rabi crop is very comfortable. Chana, we have a record crop of again 13.5 million tons. We have good stock of lentils and also yellow peas. Movements are good. So I think the government needs to promote the consumption of chana because of course if the tuber and urad is not available, we have the other pulses which is available at a much cheaper cost, which are selling. As you are aware that these are selling below minimum support price or around the minimum support price. So it is really a huge concern because last year we have seen the shortfall in the production of tuber and urad, which is a Kharif crop, and if the erratic monsoon situation continues like this and we don't have enough water in the planting areas, then I am going to see another major issue in these two crops, particularly the tuber and urad, because tuber and urad unfortunately are not also available in the international market. Only as far as urad is concerned, Myanmar is the only country which produces urad, and their production is about 7 lakh to 8 lakh tons annually. Similarly, tuber, though it is being produced in several East African countries, but the total production taking the East Africa and Myanmar, it is about 10 lakh tons. This year already we have a shortfall of about 12 lakh tons. So there is going to be huge concern. There is already a scarcity. Prices are much higher than the minimum support price. Government has increased the minimum support price to encourage the farmers for tuber from 66 rupees to 70 rupees, urad from 66 to 69 rupees 50 paisa. But one year-on-year basis, I have seen the government is increasing the minimum support price. But I have seen this has not yielded much result as far as the Kharif crops are concerned. And one of the major reasons is the weather aberration. Because of at the harvest time, weather has caused truant, and we could not see good output of these crops. And that's why for last few years, we are regularly importing these crops. So definitely there is a concern about the monsoon because all these crops are being grown in the rain-fed areas. Right. There are not much irrigation facilities. So I think government, if you see, we are looking at the global warming. We need to now look at a long-term policy, what we need to do. Because this situation has arisen this year, this may arise again after a few years, maybe next year or after a few years. You do not know.
Yeah.
So we have to look at the whole thing at a realistic, we have to take a pragmatic approach, and we have to look from the long-term point of view. This situation may arise, and we should go for the more technology, for the high-yield varieties, where which can resist this kind of warming, global warming.
Situation can be averted, absolutely. And we do import nearly 15 to...
long-term policy is required to address it.
We totally get that, Mr. Kothari. Yes, a long-term policy is required, especially with the changing times and the changing climate as well, more erratic as we go ahead. Ajay, this question is to you. As said, while we have seen MSPs continue to increase, but it is about defending the MSPs where the government really seems to be lacking. And the second thing is that even as the monsoon may not be the best, the government claims about enough buffer stock that they are holding and record food grain crops that we have seen in the past couple of years as well. Do you see that averting any kind of difficult situation going forward?
So the government is, always putting up this brave front, and playing its cards very close to the chest always when it comes to pulses and cereals and things like that. But the fact of the matter is that it is for everybody to see that, this year we are going to have an impact of El Nino, and just not this year, this impact is going to last for a few more years to come, and the entire food basket, which was actually growing year on year, is actually started shrinking. And the government will have to pay heed to it and come out with suitable measures, because hectarage is not increasing in the real sense, and MSP goes on increasing year after year, but that doesn't transfer into productivity or increased production. And and this phenomena is going to last at least 4 or 5 years, wherein we are going to have delayed monsoon, or a poor distribution of monsoons or severe monsoon, because the Pacific, everything is changing, the weather patterns are changing, and the overall food basket just continues to be at a standstill, and the growth is stopped. So I don't know whether mere government statements will be able to resolve this issue. It will have to be converted in some sort of action to augment supplies in the national this. And we must also remember that we are a country with growing demand, and the demand is actually growing. It is not shrinking, whereas production is shrinking.
Oh, well, absolutely. How have you read into the MSPs the way we have seen, Ajay? And would you say this is as per what trade really expected this to be? Because we heard the minister and he said that this is higher than the Rabi, higher than the previous Kharif as well, and this is the second highest in last 1 decade, the MSP hike that is.
So overall, for about 14 crops, they have raised the MSP from 5 to 10% across crops, from what I have read. And of course, the government has its own calculations and own intelligence network, on the basis of which they are acting. But we will have to, moving forward, we will have to see how much this impact will have on the sowing pattern, and ultimately how much the government is able to procure. So these are incentives the government tries to provide, but all of it doesn't really work nowadays.
As we have seen in sense of numbers as well, but cotton has been an important subject as well. And Mr. Ganatra, we've seen nearly 8 to 10% for medium and staple cotton variety here. I mean, cotton has been in last 1 year the most erratic story of all, because we saw all-time high prices, then we saw the prices decline quite sharply, and then there were mill concerns, ginning, and mill margins went on a decline as well. Where do you see the industry right now, and what does the MSP hike mean for you as a sector?
Yeah. At Cotton Association of India, we have recommended 6% hike in MSP, but government has almost increased 10% in the cotton MSP. So farmer has to be happy for 10%. And now the rate of the MSP is around 7,020 for the long staple. And looks like government has done good balancing between farmer and the industry. Because cotton is not only commodity, but it is also a raw material of the industry. So they were very careful about increasing the MSP. And personally, I feel the 10% is a good hike for the farmers. And but the thing is, with this MSP, the 58,000 rupees prevailing price will be bottom out for the cotton. And South India, where the outcome is very less, there around 63,000 rupees spot will be the lowest rate for coming season. And if rate will go below 63,000, then CCI has to start first buying from the month of October itself in the South India. And the same thing, Maharashtra is around 59,000 and Gujarat will be 57,000. So this hike of MSP, the chance of CCI buying cotton on MSP rate will increase for the coming year. And if ICE future will remain below 90 cent, then definitely MSP will hit in the coming new season.
So Mr. Ganatra, last year there wasn't much procurement from CCI, but this time because of the MSP hike, do you see CCI actually buying more than the mills itself? That is one thing. And the second is, how are you also looking at the demand going forward at these prices? I mean, I understand industry has been asking for lower prices. With the base price now getting higher, how is the industry looking at it?
Industry is happy at this moment. Industry is happy with the rate around prevailing rate of 59,000. First half of the season from October to March, Indian cotton rates were 10 to 15% higher than international prices. But from last 3 months, we have seen Indian prices has declined, and now we are at par with international cotton, and it is a good time for the mills to buy cotton and store cotton, because next year, if the MSP, the way MSP has increased, I don't think mills will get a very cheap rate cotton of 55,000, 56,000. Prices are ruled out now. And so CCI will be active around the 60,000 rupees per candy. So industry is happy. At present, spinning mills are making little small profits. And I think coming year, if El Nino effect will be more, and if we will see the rains are less, then I think cotton cultivation also will go up, because cotton don't need much big rains. So cotton sowing also can be increased, but we have to see how the rains will be for July, August and September.
Oh, well, absolutely. Because as of now, when we look at those numbers, we can see clearly that it is cotton, cane and core cereals where the sowing actually has picked up. Edible oil, paddy and pulses, the sowing is still lagging, and lagging by a double-digit percentage point there. But that is, of course, the initial conversation. We need to take a very short break, but when we come back, we'll, of course, talk about on how much procurement can the government really do. The rural demand and the prices ahead is something that we'll discuss with our experts. Welcome back. You're watching Commodity Champions. And Mr. Kothari, I would want to come back to you first. And we all understand the importance of a buffer stock, especially when the prices are trading below MSP. When you look at the current scenario that we are in right now, where the MSP for Moong has been hiked by more than 10%, Tuar, Urad also have seen higher MSP going forward. One, what is the kind of buffer stock that you see government bringing in? Second is, what is the kind of rural demand that you see picking up right now? And are you concerned about inflation at all when you come to pulses as a sector?
Yeah, as far as the inflation is concerned, I don't think the pulses has played any significant role in the inflation.
Sure.
The pulses prices more or less has been very, stable, except we have seen the Tuar and Urad going up. But otherwise, if you look at the other pulses, they are available at a very cheaper prices.
Okay.
So, as far as buffer stock is concerned, what we were knowing that the government is going to do around 45 lakh tons of buffer stock, which of course is required in a situation like this, where we are going to face El Nino situation, and the rainfall might be very erratic, and we may have some issues with the Tuar and Urad crop. So already I believe that I understand that NFED has already got from the old stock and the new stock, they have about 38,50,000 tons of chana with them. And they have about 1,50,000 tons of lentils. So other pulses, if you look at this buffer, I think the government is at a comfortable situation. Moreover, the lentils are available plenty in the overseas market. Canada and Australia. Canada is going to harvest a new crop in 2 months' time. They have a good crop of about 2 million tons. And Australia will also have about 1 million tons. So I'm not concerned about all other pulses. They will be available either domestically or we can import from overseas. But there will be always concern for tuber and udar, as it was last year, and I think it's El Nino's. Of course, the farmers have got very good price. It's still the monsoon behaves well in the planting areas of especially tuber and udar. I'm sure I'm going to see a good crop of tuber and udar. But if the monsoon, if the water is not available, if the monsoon is not good, then definitely we are going to see a concern. But otherwise, if you look at the overall availability of the pulses, I don't think there is any
concern. There's a concern there. All right. Moving on. Yeah.
I'll just complete 1 minute. We are going to run a campaign with Government of India to promote the consumption of chickpeas, desi chana. Because chana is a very, very protein efficient product, and this will take care of the protein requirement of it can replace tuber and udar, not in taste, but definitely as far as the protein is.
We get your point. Well, absolutely. As has been mentioned, that policies and measures clearly will have to be structured around the way that we are moving ahead there. Ajay, what's your sense? Because, we have been talking to a lot of economists, and they say that going forward, the concerns are seen in wheat, in rice, in dairy, cotton and sugar. Are you looking at concerns in many of these crops, though?
So definitely for wheat, it is the biggest harvested crop and the biggest consumed crop. And this year we are on thin ice, and definitely the government is thinking of strategy to overcome this problem. So the problem as far as wheat is concerned is not immediate, but moving forward, if El Nino is really severe and we have much lesser rains in the second half and already it is delayed, the monsoon, I'm sure the pressure on wheat will build up, and the government is not able to give in wheat in most of their programs, and they have replaced it with rice. And if even rice comes under pressure, then I guess, overall there will be some sort of an impact. So we are all just waiting for the government to, come out with a strategy by which, it can make sufficient supplies in the country right now.
Ajay, what's your sense on where are the wheat prices headed until the next sowing or the next crop comes in?
So there will be a gradual rise, until the government intervenes or makes its intentions clear as to what is the way they wish to increase supplies in the market, domestic market, whether it's with the help of reduced import duty, or it will start, offloading its own stocks and look at duty later on. So I guess it's just a wait and watch, but definitely the prices are not coming down for sure in the next quarter or two.
All right. Mr. Ganatra, what is your sense? Because as you said, the government procurement will start coming in. There's 10% increase already in case of MSP here. What is that the industry is looking at? Where do you see your cotton prices moving forward in the very near term? And we've seen exports of textile, export of cotton also continue to see a hit. Apparel export has been hit as well. How is the next couple of quarters looking to you in all the stakeholders?
Yeah. You see, the problem is this delayed rains. This delayed rains, that means if our season new sowing will be delayed by 15-20 days, so the spinning mill has to buy more cotton for 15-20 days. And our arrivals are also now ending by 25th June or 30th June. Our arrivals will be down and there will be no much arrivals. So mills has to buy from the stockist, and the stockist will not sell the cotton very easily. So I think prices will start moving up from the first week of July, and if the rains will further delayed, that will also create some more problem. And the biggest problem is import duty, 11%. We have 11% import duty on cotton. So if there is any kind of shortage because of the El Nino, yield also can be reduced. If the rains will be lesser in the second half, then our yield also will affect. And last 3 years we are having lowest yield in India. So definitely there are so many problems which industry has to be ready to face. But slowly the price will start moving up, Manisha ji.
So you feel that this is another sector where we are not expecting or anticipating any decline in raw material. I mean, it's a raw material for so many industries. So cotton prices, if you are saying will rise from here on, is there a quantum, is there a percentage that you're putting in for the next couple of quarters?
No, like that, you see, our Indian markets mainly run on international markets. So we have to, now if we see today, last 3 months before, China was 5% cheaper than Indian cotton. Today, Chinese cotton is 10,000 rupees higher than Indian cotton. And China is very bullish and buying left, right, center. Last week, if you see the US sales, China has bought 3+ lakh bales. So China is covering cotton. We have heard for China there is a crop also. Coming season 10 to 15% crop is smaller. So for Indian movement, price movement, we have to very closely monitor the ICE future as well as ZC. So we will follow the ICE only.
Oh, well, absolutely. We will be following the weather, the international markets, and of course, the interest rates, the currency moves. There is just so much that the Indian agriculture as a market will also be following up. So at this point in time, of course, as our experts tell us that in pulses, tur and urad prices could be higher. Wheat is not going down anytime sooner. And because of the MSP hike, many of these commodities, including cotton prices, also are expected to be on the higher side. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us with our detailed discussion on weather, on availability, MSP and sowing, and of course, the need of long-term measures from the government. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Commodity Champions. Thank you for watching.